This is me, Lyra from Miracles Are Me Crochet. Today we are going to get started on the crochet tutorial for Herrschners Worsted 8 Baby Yarn Happy Little Bobbles Blanket. Okay, this is categorized as a skill level of easy, which I would say it's not for an absolute beginner, but it is definitely doable. It utilizes Herrschners Worsted 8 Baby Yarn in the color Tiara. So this is Tiara, and the color Pixie. The Worsted 8 Baby Yarn is a category 4 medium weight machine wash and dry yarn. So it's nice for babies. This pattern, you will need 2 crochet hooks, a G6 or a 4mm, as well as a H8, which is a 5mm crochet hook. So you'll have to alternate hooks depending on which row and which yarn you're using. Basically, color A, which is the Tiara, uses the a G6 hook or the 4mm. So this kind of rainbow color uses the 4mm hook, and this color, which is Pixie, which is like the pink kind of colorway, which they have as color B, uses the H8 or the 5mm hook. So it's really not confusing, which once you get started on it. Just one color uses one size hook, and the other color uses the other size hook. Stitch wise, you'll be doing chain, slip stitches, single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, and treble. And then you'll also be doing for the border what's called a reverse single crochet, also known as a crab stitch. So that's why I said I wouldn't use this for an absolutely beginner, but with the help of this tutorial, it can definitely be done for someone who's been crocheting for a little bit and still a beginner and wants to venture out to something with more than just single crochet stitches. Okay, so let's get started. So you're going to start with your color A, which is they call it Tiara, I just say rainbow, which is this one, and you're going to need to crochet with your G6 hook, which is the 4mm, the smaller hook. You're going to need to chain 138 chains. Now remember, Herrschners has this easy start pull tab, which I love, so you could just pull it out. And let's get cracking. So we're going to make our slip knot. Just make a little loop like that. Go pull under like that and draw it up. That's how you make your little slip knot. So let's do that again. Yarn, just make a little circle, take this, take it under, and there you go, there's your slip knot. Okay, so we're going to again do 138 chains. So let's get started. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So keep going until you have 138 chains on your hook, and then we'll meet from there. I now have 138 chains on my hook, so we're going to start row 1. So to begin row 1, we're going to turn. I like to get the back loops when I start so that the border lays nice and flat. So to get your back loops, you're going to turn over, and you see these little humps. Those are your back loops, so we're going to work in those humps. So we're going to go into the 3rd chain from your hook. So make sure you get this first hump right here, 2nd, and here's your 3rd chain. and we're going to go into that third chain and do a half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, again find our third chain, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go into that back hump, yarn over, pull through all 3. And there's your, make sure you don't pull too tight, okay? So there's your first half double crochet. And then we're going to do a half double crochet in each chain. So we're going to yarn over, pull your loop, yarn over, go through all 3. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we're going to continue doing that all the way until we get to the very last chain. Okay, so and we should be looking like this. All right, so let's finish our half double crochets all the way down the bottom, and then we'll meet at the towards the end. I have reached towards the end of row 1, and I have 2 more half double crochets to put in. So I go 1 right here, and then don't forget this last one, so 1 right here to finish off this row. Okay, so for my beginners, you should count your stitches to the end, not forgetting to make sure you get, here's your 1, 2, and remember you went into the third chain, so don't forget where you see this pink one, that one. So you should count them off, and you should have 136 of these chains from here all the way until the end. Especially if you're a beginner, I would suggest that you count them off just to make sure you didn't miss anything. All right, so now to begin row 2, we're going to still stay with the same hook and the same yarn, and we're going to yarn over and chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch, okay? So we're going to single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches. So remember that chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so we need to make sure we go into that first chain. So here's my chain 1, and right here where you see this white, that would be my first stitch. So we're going to go into this white, and we're going to do a single crochet. And then we're going to go into the very next stitch, and we're going to right here, right there, and we're going to do another single crochet. There you go. So that's done. Now working in the back loops only. So let me show you what that means. I'm going to pull my hook out. Now when you crochet, you have a front loop. So these are the front loops. Those are the loops that are closest to you. And then you have a back loop. This would be, of this stitch, your back loop. So here's your 2 loops. We're looking at this blue. This would be your front, and that would be your back. Let's go to the next one, to the white. You have 2 loops. Front, right here. I'm going to put my hook in it. That's your front. And then you have your back loop, which is right here. Okay, so we are going to work in the back loops only. So instead of going through both loops to make the stitch, we're just going to go in the back loop. All right, so working in the back loops only, we're going to single crochet all the way across. So let me put my hook back in, and instead of going through both loops like that, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go just in this back loop and put single crochets in each one. Just like that. Just 1 single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. just like that, and keep going all the way down. And I want you to finish doing that and stop before you get to the last 2 stitches, okay? And then we'll meet again to finish off this row. So keep doing those back loop only single crochets until you get to the last 2 stitches. All right, see you soon. Okay, I am at the end of row 2 and I have 2 stitches left. Make sure you don't miss that stitch, that first stitch, okay, right here. So you're going to put a single crochet in both loops of these last 2 stitches, just like you did for the first 2. So instead of just going enough back loops, you're going to put them in both. So here's my single crochet, and I'm going to make sure that I don't miss that first stitch. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to put another single crochet to end up that row. Now, what that back loop did is, if you can see, it gives you a nice texture. And as you your blanket gets larger, you'll be able to spot the texture even better as we continue crocheting. Now, for my beginners, you might want to count your stitches again. And you should still, if you count them from here all the way back, you should still have 136 of those stitches. Okay, now to begin row 3, we're still working with the same yarn and the same hook. So again, we're going to yarn over and chain 1. Again, this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to turn our work, and working in both loops across row, we're going to single crochet in each stitch. So let's make sure that we don't miss this first stitch, which for me, if you look right there, it's right there. So I'm going to go in that stitch. And remember, for this row, we are working in both loops, unlike the last one. All the way across, I'm going to put a single crochet in each of these stitches. All the way across. When you get to the last 2, I want you to stop and wait for me, and I'll tell you what we're going to do from there, because we're going to change colors, but we're not going to tie and cut off. So just hold tight right before you get to the end, the last 2 stitches. You wait for me, and we will finish out this row 3. All right, okay, so now I'm at the end of row 3. So I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to put a single crochet into this stitch, and then in the very last stitch, I want you to go through that very last stitch, pull up your loop, and hold it. Don't do anything from here, okay? We're going to attach our, what I call a pink color. So we're going to make, here's our pull start, our slip knot, same way I taught you. That's how I learned. You wrap it around. Now you have your loop. You take, this is your end piece. You take your end and go under and just simply pull it through. Okay? Now you're going to pick this up, attach your slip knot, pull it taut, and pull through. So now you have attached your pink color. So what I do is I like a little bit of reinforcement, that way, because the last thing you ever want to happen is you give somebody a blanket and it falls apart. Okay, so what I do, this is my end tab for my pink. This is the what I call rainbow color. I'm going to take it and put a little knot. You don't have to put it tight, just to make sure it's secure. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to bunch up your stuff. And put another little, okay, and there you go. Now, what I do is you're going to take these yarns and weave them in as you're sewing, so that's less you have to weave in later. So what I do is I take what was my rainbow, what I was working with this and this end, and I'm going to lay it on top, and I'm going to do a chain 1 for my first stitch. I'm going to turn my work. Okay, I'm going to pull this just a little bit. Now for to begin row 4, sorry, let me kind of get this yarn untangled here a little bit. Okay. Now, to begin row 4, first, if you remember, we need to switch hooks. So I need to go up a size. So this is my 4mm hook. I put it 2 different hooks so you would see the difference. This is my 5. So I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to switch to my 5mm hook. And I'll tell you why in a second. Okay? Now, to make it easier weaving in, I'm going to take this is my rainbow color from when I was working with previously, and this is the end of the previous row. We need to put a single crochet into that first stitch. So I'm gonna move this out the way so you can see. Don't miss this first stitch. So this first set of white posts right here, that's your first stitch. Yours may be a different color, but don't miss that first. You're going to lay what you're going to weave in down, kind of just like that, and just sit it on top and bring it in. So you see how it's now sitting right there. And then the very next stitch right here, we're going to do the same thing, a single crochet. Still sitting that. Now you can pull this a little bit like that to get it nice and in there. Now, this is going to be our repeat for this row. Now, in the very next stitch, you're going to do a treble crochet. To do a treble crochet, yarn over 1, yarn over 2. Go through your very next stitch. I still have my other stuff laying down from my previous. I'm going to pull up a loop. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm still going to lay this down. In my next stitch, simply single crochet. All right, let's do this one more time. I'm going to continue. Usually I like to keep mine laid down for maybe 5 or 6 stitches. So I'm going to yarn over to put a treble in the next stitch. Go in, still laying down so I don't have to weave in as much. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Very next stitch, I'm going to do simply a single crochet. All right. Now, before I show you something, let's get these out of the way. We're going to just take them to the side because we don't need them anymore. We've weaved in enough. Another treble crochet in the next stitch. Yarn over twice. Pull up a loop in your next stitch. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Next stitch, a single crochet. All right. Now, we're going to sit that here just for a minute because we're going to just talk for a minute so you can see where we're at. And I'm going to pull this out. Okay. Now, if I turn my work over, ta-da, you can see that, remember the name of your blanket is Happy Little Bobbles blanket. Here are your little bobbles. 1, 2, 3. So bobbles will typically appear on the back side of where you're working. Okay. Now these are little bobbles, so they're simply made with a treble and a single crochet. There are bigger bobbles that you can make that made a little differently, a little bit more advanced, but this is an easy pattern, so I'm assuming that's why they made these little easy little bobbles. Okay, so let's go back to where we were working. Now I'm going to tell you, I don't cut this off until I am finished this row, because if I made a mistake and I've cut this yarn already, then I'm kind of messed up some, because if I made a mistake and I got to pull everything out and start over, I may have wasted yarn. So I wait to cut these yarns that I don't need anymore until I am completely finished with that row. And then if that row looks good, I'll just cut it like right here. Okay? So let's go back to our 5 and let's do this again. And you're going to continue making these trebles and then single crochet until you get to the last 2 stitches. So let's do this one more time. Yarn over, go in, both loops, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Single crochet in the next. So one more. Yarn over, go into your stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 1, 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Next stitch, a single crochet. And if you turn your work around, sometimes you gotta kind of push, because these are little bobbles. Push your little bobble out some. They'll begin to look like that for really nice texture. So you're going to continue to do that all the way until you get to the last 2 stitches, and then we'll meet again. Okay? So now I'm at the end of row 4. So for the last 2 stitches, I'm going to put a single crochet again in each stitch. So here's my first, where I'm going to put a single crochet. And then for the very next stitch, I'm going to stick my hook in, pull through. I'm going to hold it right there, okay? Now, if you remember, I told you don't cut your yarn that you weaved in until you were sure that you did this row correctly. So now I know I did my row correctly. So I'm going to cut this rainbow color. I like to use these mainly because I travel a lot, and that way I don't have to worry about them taking my little embroidery scissors. So I've just cut that. So now I'm going to take this rainbow again, because we're going to change colors again, because I've made my bobble row. So there's my bobbles, and I'm going to make another slip knot. Leaving in enough over here so we can do the same thing and weave in again. Attach. This taut and pull that through. All right. So before we move on to row 5, I'm going to show you. So if you can see how we weave that in, you can't even see it. And all we got to do is just cut right here when we're ready, and then we don't have to worry about weaving in ends, okay? Later on, a whole bunch of ends. So to begin row 5, remember we're going to switch back to our smaller hook. So this is my 5. I'm going to go back to my 4 because I'm using my rainbow color yarn. I'm going to use the same method to tie off that I did last time. So this is my end, and this is the yarn that I was working with. So I'm going to put 2 loose little knots right there. My hook came out just to secure it. I'm going to lay this up top right here. And I'm going to do a chain 1. So I'm going to put that inside of that chain, and I'm going to do my chain 1. So there's my chain 1. All right, again, doesn't count as a stitch. I want to turn my work. I'm not going to cut my pink yet, even though I'm not going to use it, because I want to make sure I do this next row correctly before I go cutting stuff. All right. Let me get my yarn kind of untangled. There we go. All right, so for row 5, we're going to, we did our chain 1. We're going to do a single crochet in both loops of each stitch. So let me move this yarn out the way because I want to make sure you don't miss that first stitch. So here, I'm going to put my hook inside, is my first stitch. So don't miss that. That's my chain 1 right there. That's my first stitch. Okay? But so I don't have to weave in as much, I'm going to lay this right on top, and I'm going to go inside, making sure that I have my rainbow, and I'm going to single crochet both loops. I'm going to do that in each stitch across. So here's my second stitch. Let me move this out the way so you can see right there. I'm going to continue to lay my weaved in part down. I'm going to now pull this a little bit. There we go. Make sure it's nice and in there. And I'm going to do a single crochet, at least for, I'd say, the first 6 stitches. So that's what we did last time. We're going to lay our previous yarn down for the first 6 stitches so we don't have to weave in. So that's the third. And then here's my treble. So I'm going to make sure that I get, let me move this out the way so you can see those 2 right there. That's my treble. So I'm going to make sure I don't miss that treble. Single crochet, and then here's my single right here. Single crochet. I'm going to do one more stitch laying my previous down. Here's my treble. I'm going to go in here, single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to move this yarn out of my way because I've weaved in enough. I've weaved in 6 stitches. So now I'm just going to work with my rainbow and continue to put my single crochets in, making sure I catch my single crochet for each treble and for each single. Okay, there's my single. There's my treble. There's my single. So you're going to keep doing this all the way till you get to the last 2 stitches, and then we'll meet again. I'm finishing off row 5. I have 2 stitches to go. And so you should remember, I just, in this stitch right here that I just did, this where you see this yellow, that's a treble. So then I should have 2 single crochets to go. So here's a single crochet, and then my last stitch is another single crochet. And there we go. All right. Now we're going to continue with the same yarn and the same hook. And for row 6, we're going to do a repeat of row 2, which is another really simple row. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work. All right. So before we start that row, remember I said after I finish, that's when I cut my yarn that I weaved in. So now I feel safe that I can cut this yarn. So I'm going to take and cut this pink because that row came out well. All right, so that pink is now cut. There we go. So now we have our chain 1 on the hook, and we're going to repeat row 2, which is we're going to put a single crochet in both loops of this first stitch. And then same thing in the next stitch, a single crochet in both loops. Now, again, working in, sorry, that one came out. Let me go back. This is the second stitch, single crochet. Now, working in the back loops only, we're going to put single crochets across all the way until we get to the last 2, just as we did before. So we're going to go just in these back loops, and I'm going to put a single crochet in each back loop. It's 1 single crochet until I get to the last 2 stitches, and then we'll meet again. Okay, so I have reached the last 2 stitches in row 6, which I stated is just a repeat of row 2. So for the last 2 stitches, just as we did in row 2, we're going to go in both loops instead of just the back loop. Okay, and that's our last stitch. Now we're going to move on to row 7, which will be the end, the last row I need to demonstrate for you. So for row 7, we're going to same yarn, same hook, chain 2. All right, this chain 2 does count as a stitch. All right, so you're going to turn your work, and you're going to work in both loops and do a half double crochet all the way to the end. So remember, I just said this chain 2 counts as a stitch, so you're not going to put your half double crochet in here because this chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, not go into here, but to the next stitch and half double crochet. So now you effectively have 2 half double crochets, this blue one and this pink one. All right, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. All right, so continue doing that, and then we'll meet at the last 2 stitches. So I'm now at the last 2 stitches of my row 7. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and then my last single crochet in the last stitch of row 7, and there we go. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat rows 2 through 7 to finish off this blanket. Okay, repeat rows 2 through 7. If you remember with row 2, you are using this same rainbow color, so that's why I didn't join the new color for the next row, because this is row 7. Next we're going to do row 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. So your next row would be row 2, which uses this same rainbow color, okay, with this same hook. So that's why I didn't change off. So you're going to continuously repeat rows 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until you get about 37 inches. Once you do that, we're going to meet again to work on the border. Don't be intimidated by this border. It's not really that difficult. Okay, it's a fairly simple border, especially once I show you how to do it It's a simple border. This is coming out to be a really cute, lovely blanket. What's nice about this blanket is that cute for a baby, it looks more complicated than what it is. And that's one of the lovely things about crochet, is that you can do fairly simple stitches and make it look like you've done a tremendous abundance amount of advanced work when you really didn't. You just utilize stitches to make a unique pattern, is how I say it. Okay, so we'll meet again once you finish up the body of your blanket, and then we'll meet for the edging. All right, have a happy crochet time. I have finished the body of my Happy Little Bobbles crochet blanket, and I'm going to start on the border. I've already, as you can see, weaved in all of my ends. My body came about just under 37 inches from top to bottom. So this is the top corner. So I am going to, I'm using for this border my larger hook, which is the 5mm, and I'm going to go right in this top corner so I can attach my pink yarn. And there we go. So we're attached onto this corner. I'm going to put 3 crochets in this corner stitch. So there's so I have my 3. So here's 1, here's 2, and then there's the third. So you're going to put 3 single crochets in the corner, and I'm going to work down the edge, and I'm going to put a single crochet all around the blanket, placing 3 single crochets in each corner for this first round. Now what I'm going to do, you want to make sure, so this is my top, this is my side. You want to make sure that your left and your right side have the same amount of crochets. So what I'm going to do is for each row, I'm going to place 2 single crochets. So to make life easier for myself for these first probably about 6 stitches, I'm going to put lay my yarn down that I'm going to weave in, that I just put on for attaching. So in this first row, I'm going to put 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to continue and put 2 single crochets in each row. Now this yarn I can put back because I've weaved in enough. So I'm gonna put this back because I've weaved in enough, and I'm gonna continue putting 2 single crochets in each row going down this side. And you're going to continue to do that all the way down the length of the side of your blanket, so that way you're sure that you have an even amount of crochet stitches on the right and on the left sides. So each of these rows going this way, you're going to have See, I have this row and I have 1, 2 stitches. Now I have the next row, which is right here, and I have 1, 2 stitches. And you're going to continue to do that all the way down until you get to the corner, and then I'll meet you at right before we get to the corner. I am at the bottom of this side. So for this row right here, I put 1, 2 stitches in, and then I'm going to put 3 stitches into this corner stitch right here. So I'm going to put 3, it might be a little tight, 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3 stitches, so that corner can, as you can see, bend. I would advise you to put a little stitch marker into the center stitch of those 3 single crochets in the corner, like that. And while you're at it, you might as well go ahead and do the same thing for this beginning corner. So here's 1, here's the second, so that's the center of that corner. That's a good habit to do for all of your crochet blankets when you start to work the corners. Now what you're going to do to complete this row is continue to put, for this bottom, 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So you're going to just go into each stitch and put 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then when you get to the next corner, you're going to do your 3 single crochets to make a corner, and then mark off that center, and then do the same thing on the next side, where you're going to put in each row 2 single crochets. Once you get to the top of your blanket, same thing, 3 single crochets to make your corner, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch until you get back to your start of your border, and then we'll meet again. So I have reached, almost reached my starting stitches for this first row border. So I'm going to put another single crochet here, another one here, and then I am going to go, so here's my center stitch, so here's my first first single crochet, I'm sorry, it's kind of tight, there we go. So I'm going to slip stitch, so I'm just going to pull it through and pull it through there, okay? So now I've slip stitched that into that first stitch. Now I'm going to change colors. I'm not going to cut this off. I'm just going to drop it because we're going to pick it back up at a later time. So I'm going to join my next color by just made my slip knot. I'm just going to attach this right here and attach that one like I just did. Okay, let's get this pink out the way because we're not going to cut it off. So for round 2, we have joined our rainbow color, and we're going to chain 1. So there's my chain 1. Now we're going to put a single crochet in that exact same starting stitch. So I'm going to go right back into that starting stitch and do a single crochet. Sorry, I'm trying to get this out the way. There we go. So there's my chain stitch, my chain 1, and then here's my single crochet. Okay, So now we're going to do, and this is going to be the repeat stitch for this row, a chain 1, skip 1, single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, for the corners we're not going to do the skip stitch. So if you remember, I marked off my corner, which is right here. So for the corners, I'm not going to skip a stitch. So I'm still going to go into that corner. Let me take this out. Still going to go into that corner, and I'm going to put a single crochet into that corner. It's a little tight, so just bear with me for 1 minute while I kind of work myself into that. So that's where my corner is. So I'm going to mark my corner off again before I proceed. So I just put a stitch into that corner, so I'm going to put my corner marker back in there. And then I'm going to do another single crochet, because remember there's 3 stitches in each corner, 3 single crochets in each corner. So I'm going to put another single crochet right next to it. Okay, so all your corners, you're not going to skip a stitch. You're going to put 3 single crochets in the corner. Okay, now we're going to do our chain 1, skip this next stitch, single crochet. Now I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. Okay, chain 1, skip that next stitch, single crochet. Chain 1, skip that next stitch, single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet. So keep doing that till you get all the way down to the end, and I'll meet you towards the end of this side. So remember I said when you get to the corner, you're not going to skip the stitch. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to single crochet. Then in this corner stitch, we're going to do another single crochet. Remark our corner. Oops. Single crochet. All right, then we're going to start our chain 1, skip, single crochet. Chain 1, skip, single crochet. Chain 1, skip, single crochet. Okay, all the way around, and you're going to do that all the way until you get to the starting chain for this, the starting stitch for this row 2, and then we'll meet. So now I'm towards the end of round 2, so I'm going to do my chain 1. I'm going to skip this stitch and put a stitch right here, a single crochet. And now I'm going to slip stitch into this first stitch of the corner. And this pattern, you may have to finagle it a little bit, so I'm going to show you how I did it to start this row 3. If you remember previously, we didn't cut off our pink, we just dropped it. So my pink is all the way over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this yarn up that I'm working it with right here, and I'm going to move this out of the way. So that's out my way. I'm going to pick up my pink right here, and I'm going to slip stitch it. Let's see where I'm gonna go. Here's the chain 1, a single crochet. This is a chain. Okay, so this is the chain 1 skipped stitch. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to pull it through that skip stitch, and I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to chain 1, skip this stitch, and single crochet. Chain 1, skip that next stitch, and single crochet. So I'm going to do a repeat of the row that we just completed, which was row 2, for row 3. So basically row 3 is a repeat of row 2. And we're going to put our single crochets in that chain 1 spaces. Okay, now the pattern, it doesn't say that in the pattern, but I think the pattern could have been a little bit more clear about how to do the border, but that just makes sense. That's how you would do this, okay? So you're going to continue doing it that way. You're going to do your corner stitches the exact same way as your previous row, and then we'll meet again for the last border row. Okay, so I'm towards the end of the third round of this border. So I'm going to, this is my first stitch of the border, so I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch. Now to start row 4, I'm going to do a chain 1. The directions don't tell you that, but that's what I'm going to tell you to do, because it'll make it easier to start your reverse single crochet. Some people call it, which I call it, a crab stitch. So we got our chain 1 on our hook. Now to do the crab stitch, you're going to go into the next stitch backwards. So it's just a single crochet but backwards, okay? So I'm going to go into the stitch right here. I'm going to make sure that your stitches, that your loops when it's on the hook is not too tight. Give it a little bit of room. And then you're going to go back into that stitch, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Pull through those 2, and it's going to take you maybe about 6 stitches to really see the border come through with the reverse. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You got 2 loops on your hook, pull through both loops, go backwards into the next stitch. You got 2 loops on your hook, pull through. Go into the next stitch, pull through. You got 2 loops on your hook, pull through. Go into the next stitch, you're going backwards, pull up. You got 2 loops on your hook, pull through. I'm going to turn my blanket a little bit. Same thing, I'm going to go into this back stitch, pull up 2 loops, pull through. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around. Now you can start to see your crab stitch or your reverse stitch, reverse single crochet. You can start to see it developing. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of practice just to get used to going backwards, but typically once you get the little rhythm of it, it goes pretty well for you. Okay, so you're going to keep doing that all the way around your blanket. It should look like that. Okay, and then I'll meet you when you get back towards this beginning stitch. So here's our completed happy little Bobbles blanket from Herrschners. You can see here's our reverse or crab stitch around the edges. Came out really nice. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed making this lovely little blanket. Have a great day.